Testing. Hello, Pierre. Hello, hello. For this stream, we're going to test out not posting on social media that we're going live. Probably going to be much fewer people than normal, but I kind of just want to get a baseline for how many people we can organically reach just through Twitch notifications, because it kind of sucks that I have to spam all of my accounts every time I go live, because I feel like that's annoying. So I realized that there's one thing we did wrong last time, where these red controls that ride along, whoops, that ride along, where are these parented to? Oh, that's not where that's supposed to be parented. Weird. So I realized that these red controls and their corresponding driver joints for that horizontal curve there, I realized we did something wrong, because right now, if you grab these controls and translate them around, they don't ride along those vertical curves in the same way that they eventually will when we plug the curve info into that yellow blink control. Like so. And we want it to. We want to be able to translate this control in Y and have it perfectly stick to, have the joint perfectly stick to the vertical curve there. So we need to reorganize the script a little bit to attach that in a slightly different way, so that the translate Y of this does not actually pull it around. So how do we want to do this? I guess we have to directly attach the joint. Let's see. So instead of constraining this joint to this control, also hello there, low gain Ben. We will attach the joint directly to the curve and plug the curve info node into the translate Y of this control. And then directly plug, I guess we'll then just throw a point constraint on it that avoids translate Y, just because joints have arbitrary translate values, although actually, looks like it says a 0. Oh, wait a second. Oh, right, so this isn't a bind joint. So this joint right now is directly parented to this. So we probably don't want that. I think first we should just reorganize stuff, because everything's kind of scattered around the outliner right now. So let's see. So when the curves are parented to a joint right now for some reason. So let's find where we're making the curve. Wait, that's the horizontal curve. Oh, right. The curves are already in the prep file. So just very early on, we can take those and parent them to the world group. I have a, where in here am I querying those vertical curves? Oh, right, I also want to turn off this new silent thinking that I created on all these scenes. 1 second. Alright, those are all off by default now. Logain Ben asks, are you working on an automated eyelid creator or just an eyelid rig? Yes, it's an automated rig creator, period, and right now we're working on the eye section, the eyelid section. So this whole UI on the right side is the rigging system I'm working on building. Okay, so where in here is it attaching it to the curve? Here it is. Curve vert. Okay, so I don't have a variable for all of those yet. So let's create one. Vert curves is going to look for prefix followed by any number followed by CR. Let me see what the horizontal one was called to make sure it doesn't. Okay, cool. Build out the prefix. Thanks, Logain. We are going to parent vert curves to the world group. And after we create each control, we have a controls group. Yeah. Alright, I guess I am gonna have to post this on social media, aren't I? We're at like less than 20% our normal viewers trying to just rely on Twitch notifications. That's frustrating. Here it controls to world, no wait, control group. And we'll also parent. Oh wait, the controls it's adding, shoot. It's not gonna work. We'll have to, whoops, what did I just do? We'll have to do this in the middle of each loop. Okay. So I'm just going to take a quick few seconds here to make a screen cap of this and just post a link various places saying we are live. All right, that's done. Okay, so let's open the prep file and run this and see if that organized it better. An error on line 79. Parent controls to control group. Why wouldn't we be able to do that? That's odd. What was the error? List index out of range. Why? Oh, it's controls instead of control. Okay, nothing's chilling out in the world, that's good. In the world lid, we've got all of our curves. And in control L lid, we have all of our controls. Okay. So that's a little bit better organized. So now let's figure out where we want to parent these driver controls, or sorry, these driver joints, to then be driven by the controls in a slightly different way than we currently have, so that they ride along these vertical curves here. So I suppose we should just put them in the world group along with the curves. Maybe we'll organize them better later. For now, we'll just dump them there. So the major controls are creating the joint right here. That's parenting the joint here, but instead we'll parent it to the world group. And then when we attach the control to the curve, let's swap it to attaching the joint to the curve. So I believe we just switch this right here for joints. See if that works or if there's something else we need to do. No errors. Okay, so that's not moving anything. Let's make the world group visible. In fact, let me add a line to the cleanup section that makes the world group visible. Or maybe I can just adjust it up here. World group, world group. Oh wait, it's making the actual, like, outside of lid. Okay, yeah. I'll just make a line here. Okay. So we can see those joints there now. I wish there was a simple way I could just tell it to always isolate just what I want to see. So it shouldn't be too hard to just look up how to script out the isolate. But whatever, I'm not gonna bother with that right now. Okay, so we have these and they're just chilling in space here. Now we want to plug the point on curve info, assuming it's working, into the translate Y of that. Yeah, it's working. Okay. So the place where we create point on curve here, let's add a line here where we connect Or I guess we have to do it with remaps, don't we? Yeah. This is the part where it's going to start to get a little hard to mentally sort through. So basically what we want to do is say that the point on curve info node parameter attribute here, which slides this joint up and down, we want to create first two remap nodes that says when this object goes from here to here, it slides up, and when it goes from here to here, it slides down. But it's also going to be taking into consideration this sliding up and this sliding down, and this sliding left and this sliding right to kind of create sort of a nice little wave when you go side to side. So it's basically going to add all of those together. So I think we just create a remap node for each of those that I mentioned, and then we add all those together with a plus minus average node and plug it into the final parameter. Just a lot of nodes, but it shouldn't be that complicated. So I guess we'll start by creating each remap node that we need. I should have in one of these scripts a remap code that we can copy. It's going to be driven by... Whoa, what just happened? I just tried to do a control backspace and it dumped a bunch of weird text on my screen. That's weird. Let me restart Sublime. Okay, that fixed it. So it's going to be the translate Y of the control that we're currently looping through. We might need to do this in a separate loop though, because it needs to take into consideration the big blink control. Maybe I can have it make the blink control before it. Is it relying on anything that comes earlier? Yeah, it's accessing controls here. Yeah, to figure out where to build it. Okay. Although maybe I can have it do that. I'll just do this in a separate loop. I guess I'll just do it underneath all this other stuff. So the loop is going to be for control in controls. Controls list has the corners in it though. Or does it? D joints, controls. Yeah, it does. So I'll just say if the word corner is not in here, if corner is not in the control that we're looping through, then proceed. Okay. So corner is not in the control. I don't know if I'll need these, but let's just create variables for the two offsets for the control in case we need it later. By grabbing the control's parent. I forget if I need any other flags in here. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so we got those offsets listed now. Now, the blink control is currently just called control. I guess we should call the blink control something else, like blink C. Okay, so now let's move this remap line that we had pasted here, move it down here. Okay, so we're remapping translate Y. Let's call this remap. I'll just number them for now, because they're all kind of the same. We're just adding them all together. Remap 1, translate Y of control 0, that's right. And we're remapping it to, what is it driving? I guess we have to create the plus minus average node first. And that in min and max, we'll set that later. So plus minus average node. Thank you, NPC. That's some high praise. CMDS dot create node. Plus minus average. Name will be I need to get the name of the curve that's vertical. Just do it the same way we did up here. Where am I grabbing? Here it is. I think that should work. Plus. Let's make the name crvvert dot replace curve with the suffix curve with the suffix plus. Okay. So what the first remap is going to plug into is input 1D0, I believe, of the plus minus average node. Let me just run this and see if that errors out. We changed quite a bit of stuff. Hello, all about animation. I'm alright, how are you? Line 244, we've got an error. Oh wait, it's rig utils, that means this remap line. L. Alright, so in this situation, control does not need that 0 next to it. Thanks for the follow, Amoros. Okay, it built without error that time. So I'm just gonna assume everything's working. So then let's make our second remap, which will be the translate Y of link control. And that'll go into input 1D1, the second slot. That'll be remap 2. Now let's make a remap 3, which will be the translate X of the control we're currently looping through. For input 1D. Okay. So now we need to figure out what remap values actually go into this. But we also need to connect the plus minus average nodes, plus minus average node into the actual parameter. Happy to have you here, Emeros. Thanks for the kind word. So output 1D, I think is what we want from this. That'll be going into parameter of point on curve info node, which we don't currently have the name of. I can probably grab it just based on the naming. It's gonna error out, but that's fine. Just trying to grab the name here. Wait, why didn't, oh right, it didn't get to that point. So we've got these guys, and they are called lid, Eyelid O2 curve, and then the point on curve info is Eyelid O2 curve underscore Eyelid upper O2 join.poc. That's quite the mouthful. I don't know if I can quickly concatenate that on the fly. Let me see if I can more easily find the output. Oh no. Our first fatal error on stream. All About Animation says, how am I approaching this setup? It's a pretty vague question. I'm not really sure how to answer that. Do you have a more specific question about the setup? I think that's our first hard crash on stream, yeah. I don't know why it crashed. Just moving the node editor. The nodes we're plugging in right now are calculating the translation of the blink control and sort of the minor blink controls, so that the joint for the blink slides up and down a curve that we place to represent the curvature of the eye. All right, let's get this back up and running. Oh my god, I meant to hit set project and I just cleared all my recent projects. That means I'll have to manually navigate to them every time for the first time each one now. Whoops. Now, what was I opening that node editor to check? What was the last thing I typed in the script? Plus minus average. All right, we were trying to grab the name of the vertical curve. Or no, not the vertical curve, the point on curve info node. Which does not exist in the prep scene. So if we wanted to concatenate this name on the fly, we'd have to figure out the name of this joint as well, which should just be the name of the control replaced with joint. So I guess we can just do that. So joint is roll.replace control with joint, and then POC is equal to something underscore underscore something underscore underscore POC, and what's filling in there is, where'd it go? Wait, where's the curve? Oh yeah, curve vert is the first one, and then joint as the second one. That should work. So now we're connecting the plus minus average node to the parameter of POC. Let's see if that worked. I thought about doing with the closest point on curve as well, but I just feel like using simple remap nodes might be a little bit cleaner, and it also prevents you from accidentally pulling something too far from the curve and it snapping into a weird spot and stuff. Okay, no errors. Where? Okay, the joint is at the bottom there. Okay, pulling these around is not moving anything at all right now. It's definitely connected to it. Right now it's at 0. And I mean, we expected it to not be perfect right away because we didn't plug in any custom values to the remap nodes yet. So just to check if it's working, let's grab these remap nodes and just plug in some custom values. So we've got upper TY, let's ignore TX for now, that's just kind of an extra bit. Well, I guess let's just go through all of them, and just for the sake of testing, we'll just do 0, 1, 0, 1 for everything. Right now it's got some big values that were kind of inherited when we copy and pasted that line before. Okay, so 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, there we go. So this definitely drives it to some extent, and this one should do the same thing. Yep, cool. And then that as well. So now we just need to figure out what values we need to plug into here. And to do that, first we need to grab the value of the point on the curve that it started out at. Oh, you know, also I just realized we need... I forgot we were going to do a separate set of remaps for the vertical movement, or for the positive movement from neutral to 1, basically, and then negative movement from neutral to 0 on the curve. Now how am I going to do that? Because we have multiple... We're driving it in 2 directions. Do I need a... I'm not sure if I need a, whatchamacallit. Why am I forgetting the name of the node where it's like, if it's this, do this, if it's not, do that. Condition node. Wondering if I need a condition node here, because I'm basically going to have a plus minus average for the positive movement and a plus minus average for the negative movement. So that's 2 nodes. And I guess I need a condition node to plug those in. Or maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't think that matters. I think we can just add the 2 plus minus average nodes together, because whenever the controls are in the positive, the negative one should be at 0, right? I think that's accurate. Let's just try it. So this will be plus minus average number 1. And then plus minus average. So we're gonna need 3 plus minus averages. Plus minus average 1 is going to be for the positive movement, plus minus average 2 is for a negative movement, and then they're going to be added together in plus minus average 3. Neg. Pos. Oh wait. Let's put it here. Or I'll do pos first and then neg. And then third one will be, we'll just leave it named that. So let's connect these together. Input 1D 0 on plus minus average 3. That's coming from plus minus average 1. And then the same thing for the next one. And number 2. And then the output of 3 goes to the POC. I think that works. Now, why were we doing this again? Okay. Right. So while we're here, let's grab default parameter. So remap 1. Oh, right, we need to do 2 sets of remaps. So basically, I'm wondering if this remap function I've been relying on here is automatically going to rename it, which means that if I try to do the same one twice, it's going to have a name conflict. Let me look at this under rig utils. And welcome to the stream, Majestic Giraffe. The rig utils, this is the remap function I'm using here. I'll just give it a name flag that's empty by default. And then after it concatenates the name, I'll say, well, let's call this something more than just n, like name custom, name cust. And here I'll say, if name cust is anything, make it what it uses. That should fix it. Okay. So we've got all these going into plus minus average node 1, which is fine. And let's set the actual values here. So how do we figure out how high? Yeah, there's one kind of complicated thing we need to do here. So basically we need to figure out what the translate y value is for each of these to reach their top point in space in relation to this curve. So basically, if I hold down C on the keyboard and middle mouse button drag, it's a little finicky, you kind of gotta get it right on it from the right angle. It's not working. There we go. So I'm dragging this along the curve right now, and at the very top, the translate Y is 1.806. So we need to do some code so that regardless of what character we run this on, it figures out what that number is. So what we need to do is grab the world position of this CV and then apply it to this. So let's just try that within Maya. So that's the name of the CV. So if we do cmds.xform, run it on this, say, oh wait, no, if we're checking a point position, we have to do, there's an actual command called point position. And then say world space is equal to 1. See what that tells us. It might just be W. Yeah. Okay, so that's the world space position. So the Y world space position is 125.4401. Let's just grab the first 3 digits there. And then we'll say cmds.move, I guess. Grab the name of that control. Sorry if this is too tiny for you to see. Let me zoom in. So we're moving this. It's going to be an object space. I don't know if O is the right flag there. I'll check in a second. I think it's OS. Object space, relative. And I think the way this command works is that you put the label or the numbers at the top. So it would be 0 for X, 125 point. Oh wait, we don't want object space, we want world space. So 125.401 as Y and then 0 as Z. Let's see if that works. Oh, definitely not. Maybe relative is equal to 0? Oh, something happened. Okay, so it did work, but it's moving it to origin by putting 0 and 0 here. I feel like there are ways to write like % straight in here or something. Thanks for the follow, Owen Codes. Can I write per? No. I know you can write like degrees. I know I've done that, but we're doing translate, so I doubt degree is gonna work. No. There's gotta be a way. I'll look in the command documentation. Or let me see what happens when I just drag it. So relative object space. I mean, the other way to do it is to like create a null at that position in space and then use a point constraint to snap it over. I'm doing okay, Owen Codes, how are you? I'll just look online for the command. Where do I have it saved? Maya Python 18. So let's look for move. Let's look at some of the examples. Oh, there we go. Y is equal to true. It looks like that's all we have to do. Y is equal to 1. Hooray! I am new to streaming, indeed, Owen. It's been probably less than a month for this account. I have a separate gaming channel that I've been doing for like a month and a half, but then I was like, I should just stream my work sometimes. But yeah, I think we've done less than 10 streams total. Getting close, though. Okay, so now that we know how to do that, we can go back over to write this in the code. So we got the parameter. So now we'll do a point position. I'll just call it WS for world space. CMDS.point position. And we need to grab CV number. Oh shit. We need to find out how long, what the last number of CVs, what the number of the last CV on. I wonder if I could just type -1 here. Let me see what happens if I type -1 in point position. -1 did not give the same thing as 5. I wonder what it was giving me. How do I query the number of CVs on this? I could probably just grab the length of it, actually. So let me try. Give it some variable. ls dot CV with a star. Majestic Giraffe says degree plus spans. I'm not sure how to query that. Would that be on the curve command with a query flag? Test one, see the ls, blah blah blah. Let's ask what the length of that is. No, that gave me a 1. So that ain't true. Do I have to do the shape? No. Why isn't that working? Oh, duh. I have to use the flatten command. Yeah, that's it, Majestic. That's what I was trying to get. Well, I typed something wrong here. There we go. 6. So it would be 6. So this line minus 1, basically. So CV count is equal to this. That was the curve vert. And then we've got, oh, looks like I forgot a parenthesis somewhere. Okay. So that's a curve count. So then we do, and I guess I'll just throw a -1 at the end here. And curve count, or CV count. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. So curve vert and curve count there. Got that point position. Let's cmds.move. What was the name of our blink control? Blink C. Move the blink control. World space, not relative. And Y throw in that world space position. Okay. And then we'll just get the attribute for that TY. And then just set it back to 0. Oh, right, we need to make sure it's not grabbing a list. Okay, so that should give it to us. So that means we know some of these values now. So the default input, or the input min for the remap, should all be 0, and the one for positive should be TY. And then the outmin outmax should be param and TY. No, param and 1. So that should get us from neutral to the top. But I just realized this is just TY pause, so let's call this TY pause and then copy everything over to make a negative version. And in this case, we don't need this world position stuff because we know it's CV0. Move to... Or wait. No, we do need that line, but we don't need the curve count thing here. We'll just type 0. So then we move it over. I just realized that TY pause says typos. Oh well, we're leaving it. But this one's going to be called TY neg. Blink control, yeah. Yeah. Alright, that works. So now for our second remap, we start at 0 and we go to TY neg, and it translates into parameter as a neutral and the endpoint being 0, the bottom of the curve. I really wish I made these curves opposite, from 0 at the top to 1 at the bottom, because it's a blink, but I guess it doesn't really matter, especially since we're going to be copy and pasting all this stuff into the bottom lid, in which case it would flip-flop anyway. Okay, and then we just got the translate x1. So this is the kind of tricky one. So we start at 0 like everything else, and then it's kind of an indefinite one, so I just have it set to 20 from last time, and that's probably fine. So from 0 to 20, or no, I guess for this one we want to go like from like all the way across it, like negative 20 to 20. 20 is just kind of an arbitrary number that you'll never hit, just farther than the animator would ever pull it. So negative 20 to 20, let's say negative 2 to 2. Think that works? Okay. Oh, wait a second. I forgot that we're separating everything out still into the positive ones and the negative ones. So this is all plugging into the positive plus minus average node. So I guess in this case, we're still starting at 0, going to 20, then starting at 0 and going to something small like 2. Okay, so now let's copy all these remaps over into the negative side of it. Really should call these something more descriptive, but whatever. And I think we leave the TX the same. Also, I realized I totally did the wrong thing here. So remap 2 here, this wasn't the negative blink yet. This was still TY pause. It should be the exact same thing as the first one. This is just for the other control. They should do the same exact thing. It's then in that bottom section we just copy and pasted to that we switch everything. And yeah, that's already good to go. So the top one should be TY neg as well. 0. Okay. And then we'll switch all these into plugging into plus minus average 2 instead of 1. And those are already connected into 3 up here. All right. Probably going to be some errors in this because we just wrote a whole bunch, but let's test it out. There it is. All right, we wanted world space index 1 for Y. 166. Try that again. No errors. I'll be very impressed if this like perfectly worked. Nothing's happening there. Nothing's happening there. All right, let's check these remap nodes, see what happened. So we've got our positive ones and our negative ones. So wait a second. Okay, so it's set to the output min as 0.874 and the output max as 1. That looks right. So why is it at 1 right now? Oh, you know what? Well, no, that shouldn't matter. Yeah, I'm confused because both the driver controls have 0 right now, but according to our remaps, if it's at 0, everything should be at 0.84. Oh wait, this TX1 is set incorrectly. That's why. So let's look at our TX ones here. Yeah, we didn't finish. Okay, yeah, I got confused with these. So 0 to 20 would be, we always want param as the default, right? And then the out max from param. I'm realizing when we combine these together, it might hit some arbitrary stopping points because we're only going to a specific point. I wonder if maybe we need to like add times 10 to the end of every single value or something, so that it keeps going even when it hits the end. So for now I'll just do what I was doing with the other ones, just say the outmax also I should reverse this bottom line here for the X. Just leave 0 for that. Not sure if that's gonna work. Let's try. But even if it does work, I think it's gonna like stop if you combine the two together. What the heck? Still stuck there. 0.81 0 to 20. Yeah, I'm confused because all of these should. Oh, okay, wait. Oh, I forgot to type param into there. Just for the sake of testing, I'll throw that number in myself. Okay, now I'm confused because every single one of the remaps maybe this last one's supposed to be like negative? No. This is weird. Yeah, every single one of the remaps has its output min at 0.874. So weird. Let's check on these plus minus average nodes. So we've got our blink control, and we've got our upper control. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah. So we got our blink control. Why is our blink control only going into 2 of these? I guess we forgot to plug our blink in, our blink translate X. Oh, you know what? We don't want the lid upper controls to be like the little red ones. We don't want those to be driving with TX anything. That's exclusively a blinking thing. So TX is gonna be blink. I don't think that fixes anything, but let's rebuild and just get our bearings. They're still going up to 1 for some reason, so... But 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. Which means if all of our remaps have 0.8 whatever as the output min, this joint should be at its neutral position. Wait, 5.241? Where is it getting this crazy high number from? Let's take a look. Okay. So our lid upper control plugs into these 2 TY plus my or remaps. Then blink is plugged into the TY and TX. That makes sense. And now this one is adding up these 3 remaps. So yeah, it's set to sum. It's adding them up. That's adding these up. Maybe I do need a condition node. What happens if I just plug this one, a positive, straight into parameter and just move it vertically, see what happens? What are we talking about right now? Okay, this one. Still nothing. So let's just look at positive ones, which are the bottom here. So we got a 0, we got a 0, we got a 0. Those all get added together, and they're all, okay, they're all 0.874. Oh. But when you add 0.874 to other instances of 874, damn. That's why. Maybe I have this backwards. I'm gonna turn on my new silent thinking mode in the bottom right there, where I'm going to be quiet and just think for a bit. I think I have this backwards. I think I need to do the plus minus average nodes and then remap them, right? So translate Y of these two plus translate X of the blink. Yeah, that makes sense. We just do it backwards. All right, let's see if we can stare at this code and make it work. Okay, so it's just these lines right here. So our plus minus average nodes. Just kind of ignore this section and just kind of recreate it from scratch and copy over what we need. So we start with a plus minus average node for positive and a plus minus average node for negative. Or let's just worry about positive for now. No, I guess we do have to consider both of them at the same time. Oh, I guess it's the whole starting out at 0.8 thing that makes it weird. It's the same thing that has going in circles a couple streams ago, where the fact that you're starting the blink at an arbitrary spot on the vertical curve instead of totally open or totally closed makes it challenging to figure out the math. So positive, I guess that's why we were starting with the remaps, but then it's like we can't add them together because it never knows when it's at neutral. Maybe we need to calculate the difference between the neutral and that new number. That might work. Like say 0.8 minus 0.8, basically. Or 0.8 minus wherever you are. Let me look at that node editor again. So we got each of these when they're at neutral. They have 874, 874, 874. So if we do 0.874 minus each of these numbers before plugging them in, let's just try it out in scene. Just duplicate each of the, oh wait, no, actually. We need plus minus average. Copy that name over here. Or I guess it's minus. So we have that number there, and it minuses that. Get rid of that attribute. I don't know how to do that actually. Maybe over here? I mean, it shouldn't matter, but whatever. And set it to subtract. Duplicate. Just do this for each one. Wait, what is this one? Where did this come from? Oh, I see. Okay, so these are all here. Connect these here. So these are all at 0 now. I guess we'll just worry about the positive values right now. So what about if we move this in Y a little bit? Yeah, this might work. Let's connect this. I don't even know if we need the whole negative side to it now. Might be fine to just do 1. Okay, that dropped down to 0. So right now it's adding these three together. We might need to add a manual 4th value here. Whoops. How do I add one in here? Under 1D. Just manually connect one. Why can't I find output 1D? Why can't I add an extra one? It's so annoying. Probably force it here. Sure, Hobo, you can post whatever you want. That didn't do anything. Does anybody know how to force there to be an input 1D3? Set adder is not doing it. It says it's doing it. Maybe I just have to click it again to refresh. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it worked. Just needed to refresh it. Okay, so now it's adding all this stuff together. Does it work now? Oh, it looks like it's in the right spot now. Okay, it's opposite, but that should be an easy fix. I might just need to make this subtraction. Nope, that didn't work. So instead I'll just do a negative. Nope, that doesn't work. I guess in this case, I'll just put 0 for these instead of 1. Seems like it's going way too fast. Why is that? What about with this? Same thing? Yeah, they're going way too fast, so... Input min goes to... No, it definitely needs to go to 1. Because 1 is the top, right? Something's getting, like, inverted at some point. Maybe I just need to... Wait, output... Yes, the positive... Oh, wait a second. I see. That makes sense. I guess that's why we were separating it into positive and negative separately. Because right now it's just looking at the whole thing or something. Alright, I'm turning on silent focus mode again. What if it's way simpler than this? What if I don't even do remaps? What if I just say, you know, you're starting at 0.874, and as you slide up and down, just increase or decrease based on these this multiplier or something. Though I guess the whole point... Yeah, the clamp is annoying, Majestic Giraffe. We didn't hit that issue yet, but I am predicting we will once we get everything else working. But the big reason I want a remap from neutral to closed is so we can have an extra key on the on the remap graph to adjust what the lid looks like when it's going through the middle area of the eye. And if we don't use a remap in here somewhere, that's an issue. I could just kill all this and just do a closest point method, but then I'm still going to need a remap node on the verticality of those locators or nulls that are moving along with our controls. I mean, I feel like what we're trying to do right now works. I'm just tripping over the math a little bit. So right now, this actually is working. For some reason, it's going the opposite way that I want it to. So maybe it might actually be working. We just need to figure out why it's inverting. Subtract. It's not doing it. The curve direction doesn't matter, Majestic Giraffe, because we're going to need to do this for the lower lid too. Like, we'll just change some math so that it goes from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, whichever the opposite is. In this case, right now, 1 is at the top. So we're adding our 3 attributes together, and we're adding the neutral value. So 0.874 plus a positive value. So now we got, oh wait, that's a negative value. Why is that a negative value? 0.509. Where is it turning into a negative value somewhere here? I'm confused. So these are subtraction, saying 874 minus whatever your current translate value is, or no. Maybe I just plug these into input 1 instead of input 2. Let me see what happens if I do that. Or sorry, input 0 instead of input 1. Okay, so 0 minus that neutral 1. Wait. This doesn't look right. What the heck? I did something weird here. Where's this coming from? Thanks for the following, Ben Mac. Why does this say 0? I must have grabbed the wrong thing here. That doesn't make sense. There we go. Must have grabbed the wrong thing. Okay. So we've got these remaps. And a plus minus average saying whatever value you are, subtract the default position from that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it works. Doesn't go down, but that's okay. We at least got it working on the positive. And then it's also working on the positive here. Okay, so now that we know that that works, let's try just replicating this for the negatives. Okay, that looks right. Connect these into the neg. Wait, how is it inputting? 0, 0, 0, and then default. Duplicate this over. Okay. And then we'll add them together. And then we'll plug this in. Uh-oh, it jumped up. So what is this one doing? I think maybe we do need a condition node here instead of a plus. Oh god, don't do that. Why did that delete the whole thing? What the heck? Stop that, Maya. Condition. So operation greater than 0. First term should be yes, that was scary, Root Lancer. Which value are we checking here? If what is greater than 0? Why did this sound so easy in my mind? Now I'm like, what the heck am I even doing here? Do I need to create an extra plus minus average node that just adds the 3 translate values together? No, I feel like I should just be able to use what I have here, right? There's part of me that wonders if my brain is just like overcomplicating this and there's a simpler solution here. It's so complicated I don't even remember what we did. So this would be like the translate y of the blink. It's just a ring map node saying go from neutral to the top of the curve, and then ignoring these names, I just duplicated them and didn't rename them. This is subtracting the neutral value from what it has. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe I do need an extra one that adds all this together. This looks like a sloppy graph now. Hope it's not slow. Damn, this is so annoying when they don't show it there. Majestic Giraffe says, does pressing 2 with it selected not show all the array elements? It does. The thing is that the way these nodes work is that these connections just don't exist until you connect something to them. But the connect window was not showing them, so I had to do a set adder to get them to show up. There should be an add item button like there is under 2D and 3D here, but they just don't show up under 1D for some reason. And then finally, the blinks X. This sure is a lot of nodes compared to just doing the point on surface thing, or point on curve thing. Okay, so if this number is greater than 0, and the color, if true, is going to be these guys. Oh wait, that's neg. Why did I put negative on top? Let's see what that does. Oh no, they're all the way up at the top. Oh, the condition isn't plugged in. Haha, it popped down. Yay, it works. So up and down with this one, up and down with this one. Yeah, but it does hit that brick wall. And then left and right adds as well. Now we need to figure out on top of this how to make sure it goes super far, like times 3 at least. And I might be able to just like multiply it all or something. Let's see. So the remap nodes. Thanks for the follow, Zonji. Using remaps. Maybe we can't do any cheap multiplication here because we're literally saying go to 0 or go to 1. But yeah, the deeper we get into this, the more I think we're gonna just have to scrap it all and do closest point on surface. It does simplify everything a whole lot. Well, Majestic Giraffe, the thing is we can't multiply output max when it's set to 0, because that'll just get us 0. There are numbers that exist that could work here, because you can set the value of where the object is on the curve past 1 or below 0, and that'll still make it look like it's at 0 or 1, so that's fine. It's just a matter of how do we figure out what number would make it look like a consistent linear animation from top to bottom and bottom to top, because we can't multiply 0. It's like we kind of have to scrap the whole 0 and 1 angle of these remaps. So let's just stare at one of these remap nodes. Let's look at the little controls translate Y on positive. Okay. So when this control right here goes from 0 to 1.675, the output min goes from the neutral position to like we could subtract or we could add an arbitrary number from default. But then it's like, if you ever have to dive in and adjust these by hand, you're gonna accidentally screw them up. But just for testing, let's just say we add... I wonder if we could somehow, like... find the difference between... What if we just add 20 to this? Or, wait, not the min, sorry. Min, we want min plus 20. Which is just 20.874. If we did that to the right one, that looks fine. Wait, that wouldn't make any sense. Why? Yeah, it's not affecting it for some reason. I wonder if it's the negative one. I don't know, these are affecting anything. That's weird. Yeah, I think it's time to just admit defeat and decide that the best way to do this is going to be closest point on surface. But since we've been streaming almost 2 hours, that'll probably have to wait till next time. So basically what we're gonna end up doing, I'll save this as a file in case we need it later. So basically what we're going to end up doing is saying there's a null chilling under this major lid control. There's a null for each of these major red controls that sit under this big yellow control. And as we move it up and down, those 4 controls move up and down as well. And wherever they happen to be close to on the curve, that's where those red controls will land. But the thing is, we were also going to have it so that dragging these red controls up and down also determines where on the curve it falls. So we'd actually need 2 closest point on surface nodes per curve, and that's 16 closest point on closest point on curve nodes per character, which is probably fine since it's curves. If it was closest point on surface, that would be a lot. And closest point on surface has had errors or bugs, very, very crucial performance bugs in Maya recently, but if it's closest point on curve, that should be okay, I think. So I guess we'll try that next time. Majestic Giraffe asks, have you ever worked with like a custom UV-N deformer for non-spherical eyes? I'm not sure what the N in UVN stands for. I've done some, it wasn't like a custom deformer, but I've done UV follicle based eyes where you control where the follicle is on the U and the V along a NURB surface. I feel like that's a little heavy. I really try to avoid closest point on surface nodes because it basically broke all my characters because of a performance issue that I don't know if they ever fixed regarding closest point on surface with some post-space deformer stuff I was doing whenever my rigs were in Maya 2020. and I ended up having to come up with a whole new solution for the way I did corrective shapes, or drove corrective shapes rather. But yeah, right now we're just going in this riding along curves direction, which allows you to do any eye shape as well, because you get to control exactly how these curves look, and that's how the joints will move along them. But thanks for watching, everybody. Next time we will redo all of that with a completely different method, I suppose. I'll run the credits here. Yeah, Majestic Giraffe, I don't do anything with custom deformers because the sole purpose of my rigs is for everybody to be able to use them in Vanilla Maya. So I try to avoid plugins and stuff like that. But thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for all the follows. See y'all next time.